The best thing about owning a lakeside cabin is the peace. The still water at sunrise, the sound of loons echoing in the distance, and no one telling you what color to paint your mailbox. At least, that's what I thought until HOA Karen rolled into town. My cabin sits on 5 acres beside Clearwater Lake, private land my grandfather bought back in the 60s. It's quiet, remote, and 100% outside the HOA boundary. Or it was, until the nearby subdivision's HOA decided they wanted to expand their influence and include the surrounding lakeside community. Translation, they wanted to boss me around too. I ignored the letters at first. Then came the threats, membership fees, property inspections, even mandatory landscaping compliance. I laughed at them all. But the real storm hit one Friday afternoon when I drove up from town and found a giant eviction notice stapled to my cabin door, signed, HOA President, Karen D. Wickens. She had actually called the cops to evict me from my own property. I parked my truck, grabbed the paper, and before I could even blink, I heard her voice behind me. Finally, you're here. You've got until 5 p.m. to vacate the premises. I turned around, and there she was, pastel cardigan, pearl necklace, clipboard of doom. She was standing on my dock, acting like she owned the place. Karen, I said slowly, this is my property. I've got the deed right inside. You don't have jurisdiction here. She smirked. That's where you're wrong. The HOA board voted to annex the lake last month. Everything within half a mile of the shore is now under HOA authority. That includes your cabin. I blinked. You can't just annex a lake. It's not a medieval kingdom. She crossed her arms. Our lawyer says otherwise. And since you haven't paid your community dues, this property is being repossessed. I was stunned, and then I started laughing. Karen, the lake and cabin have been in my family since before your HOA even existed. I own not only the cabin, I own the lake rights too. You can't repossess something that's not yours. She frowned, clearly not understanding what riparian rights meant. Before I could finish explaining, 2 squad cars pulled up. The cops stepped out, clearly confused. Karen rushed over, pointing dramatically at me. That's him. He's squatting on HOA land. Remove him immediately. The officers glanced at her, then me, then my cabin. One said, Ma'am, can you show us proof of ownership? Karen whipped out a crumpled annexation map that looked like she'd printed it off Microsoft Paint. The cop turned to me. Sir, do you have documentation? Sure do, I said, walking to my truck. I pulled out the original deed, the county land survey, and the water rights certificate, all in my name, all legally recorded decades ago. The cops studied them carefully. One raised an eyebrow. So, technically, this whole lake belongs to you? Yep, I said. And that dock she's standing on? Mine too. Karen's jaw dropped. That's impossible. The HOA owns this lake. The cop smirked. Ma'am, according to county records, this lake and the surrounding land are private property, owned by him. You have no authority here. Karen stammered. But I, the board, we. Then the second officer's radio crackled. He stepped aside, listening, then came back shaking his head. Ma'am, we just called it in. Apparently, you filed fraudulent documents trying to claim ownership of the lake 2 weeks ago. The county flagged it. That's a federal offense. The color drained from her face. I folded my arms. So, Karen, were you planning to repossess my cabin? Or just steal it? She tried to protest, but the cops were already pulling out the cuffs. Ma'am, you're under arrest for filing false ownership claims and attempting to defraud property records. As they led her away, she shrieked, You can't do this. I am the HOA. The officer said dryly, Not anymore. After they drove off, I sat on my dock, watching the sun set over my lake. The water shimmered gold, peaceful again, the way it should be. 2 weeks later, I got a letter from the new acting HOA president, apologizing for the misunderstanding and confirming they had no further interest in my property. I framed that letter. Right next to it, I hung a photo I took that day, Karen getting cuffed in front of my cabin while the reflection of my lake glittered behind her. Now, every summer, I host a big lakeside barbecue for the local cops, neighbors, and friends. We joke that it's called the annual HOA free lake party. And if you listen closely when the wind's right, you can still hear Karen screaming about bylaws from somewhere far, far away. Smirking face,